Men more quickly forget the death of their father than the loss of their patrimony. Machiavelli's warning is a reminder that value is measured not in presence, but in scarcity. What is always near, always available, always in supply, becomes ordinary in the human eye. This is the first enemy you face. Abundance breeds contempt. If you flood the battlefield with your presence, you dissolve into the background and your power is erased. Think of human attention as a scarce resource. Every mind is a kingdom with limited gates, and only what enters sparingly is noticed. When something is everywhere, it becomes invisible. A coin tossed in every hand loses its shine, while the same coin held back, guarded, and released only in decisive moments becomes a symbol of wealth. In psychology, this principle is well established. The more frequent and predictable a stimulus, the less it is valued. When you are constantly available, you train others to ignore you. Scarcity is not weakness, it is strategy. A king does not parade through the streets daily, for familiarity would corrode majesty. He appears rarely, and when he does, the entire court trembles. A predator does not chase endlessly, it waits invisible until the single strike. Even in chess, victory is not won by moving every piece constantly, but by deliberate, scarce movements that corner the opponent into checkmate. Presence loses force when it is uncontrolled. Absence, rationed wisely, creates weight. In the modern world, this enemy disguises itself as the hunger to be liked, to be seen, to be constantly present in every conversation, text, or social feed. You may feel compelled to respond instantly, to prove your relevance by endless activity, but this need dilutes your power. Every extra word, every needless appearance makes you common. Even in conflict, if someone disagrees with you, do not rush to fill the silence or argue every point. State your position with calm authority, then step back. The scarcity of your voice gives it gravity. You must command yourself. Stop flooding the field with presence. Move sparingly, speak only when necessary. Withdraw strategically so your return feels like the entrance of a sovereign. Remember this law of power: your absence is a weapon, your mind is a throne, and attention is the crown resting upon it. Whoever holds that crown rules your inner kingdom. This is where the law of scarcity begins, not in how others perceive you, but in how you discipline your own focus. Attention is not infinite. Psychology has long described it as a limited currency. Just as a treasury can be drained by careless spending, your mind can be stripped of power by scattered focus. Every demand, every notification, every distraction taxes you, leaving less for the battles that actually matter. If you treat your attention as abundant, it becomes devalued. If you guard it as scarce, it becomes priceless. Picture your throne room under siege. Each distraction is an invading army storming the gates, battering at your defenses, hoping to slip past your guard. If you allow every force in, your throne becomes occupied by intruders, and you no longer reign. But if you enforce scarcity, if you decide ruthlessly who earns entry and who is turned away, your crown remains intact. You must think like a sovereign under siege. Every moment of attention surrendered is a territory lost. Discipline is not cruelty toward yourself, it is strategy. Guarding your throne means cutting down intrusions before they breach your gates. Modern culture tempts you to act as if attention is abundant. Productivity advice often pushes abundance. Do more, be everywhere, answer instantly, consume constantly. This is the abundance mindset, disguised as progress. But true productivity is not volume, it is precision. The scarcity mindset recognizes that fewer, deliberate actions produce greater impact. The abundant worker floods the field with effort and burns out. The scarce worker chooses the highest ground, defends it, and commands from a place of control. One is noise, the other is signal. Weak, I will try to do everything. Strong, I will direct my energy only where it matters. Consider how you respond when colleagues or peers demand your time. If you rush to please every request, you appear generous but weaken your throne. If you decline with composure, explaining that your focus is reserved for higher priorities, you project strength. This is calm leadership, not hostility, but clarity. Scarcity in your attention creates respect. People learn that when you do grant focus, it carries weight. Do not surrender your crown. Protect your mental throne. Eliminate intrusions, ration your energy, and treat your focus as royal currency. Remember this mantra: my attention rules my kingdom. The morning is the battlefield where the first and most decisive clash takes place. These early hours are scarce, few in number, and once surrendered, cannot be reclaimed. If you let them slip, you begin the day already defeated, your throne compromised before you even take your seat. Commanders in history understood this truth. Generals rose before their armies to inspect the lines, issue orders, and seize initiative. Kings were known to begin their days with strict ritual, not indulgence, because discipline at dawn radiated through the kingdom. The order of the morning shaped the order of the empire. Your morning is no different. The first hours of the day are your high ground. They are finite, precious terrain, and the one who occupies them first controls the rhythm of the entire campaign. Guard them with absolute discipline. Do not hand over your crown to trivialities. Ritual is strategy, whether through planning, reading, movement, or quiet reflection. These acts are not small. They are banners raised over the battlefield declaring who holds dominion. The enemy, however, waits in ambush. In modern life, that enemy is most often your screen. The moment you open your phone and let social feeds or news headlines invade, you have allowed hostile scouts into your camp. They dictate the tempo, flood your mind with noise, and scatter your army of thoughts before the first march has begun. What you call checking in is often a surrender. By reacting to outside agendas instead of establishing your own, you give away the initiative. Commanders who lost initiative in battle rarely recovered. You must recognize that every scroll, every click, is an enemy pulling you away from scarce ground. Imagine a commander asleep while the sun rises. His soldiers stand idle, unprepared, while the opposing army advances. By the time he rouses, the field is lost. Morale is broken, and the war is decided before the first strike. This is the cost of neglecting the dawn. The hypothetical is clear. Lose the morning, lose the campaign. Take command. Rise with intention. Guard the first hours with steel boundaries. Weak, I'll see where the day takes me. Strong, I will decide where the day goes. This distinction separates the sovereign from the servant. Even if others press you with distractions or insist you must be available, answer with calm authority. Your focus belongs first to your throne, not to the demands of others. Those who respect power will respect this boundary. Every morning is scarce and finite. Treat it as the decisive battlefield it is. Win the dawn, and you win the day. Remember this law: the throne is seized at sunrise. Power is not always shown in the strike. Sometimes it is revealed in the pause before the strike. Stillness, when used with intent, is not weakness, but a weapon. History shows this repeatedly. Julius Caesar did not charge blindly in every battle. He waited, withheld movement, and forced his enemies into mistakes. Napoleon advanced with astonishing speed when it served him, but he also paused for days to let the opposition stretch itself thin. Genghis Khan often retreated deliberately, drawing enemies into overconfidence before destroying them at the chosen moment. The lesson is clear: absence, when deliberate, multiplies force. Silence is a blade sharper than words. Imagine a duel where one fighter swings wildly, filling the air with noise, while the other waits, silent, patient, measuring the exact moment to deliver a single cut. The calm fighter terrifies more than the reckless one. Stillness creates pressure, because the unknown is feared more than the seen. The leader who rations words, the professional who does not rush to prove themselves, the sovereign who chooses silence over explanation. These figures create weight by holding back. The fewer your movements, the greater their impact. Weak: I must respond immediately. Strong: I will respond when it matters. In the modern world, silence and stillness are becoming scarce. Noise dominates everything. Endless notifications, breaking news, voices competing for attention. This abundance of sound makes silence more powerful than ever. The person who can step back, who does not rush to fill every pause, who can sit without distraction, commands respect. In conversations, silence is often misread as weakness, but when carried with composure, it becomes authority. If someone challenges you and expects an instant defense, a composed pause disarms them. By not reacting, you show that your time and words are too valuable to be wasted in petty conflict. The discipline of stillness requires strength. It is easier to react, to speak, to move constantly. It takes control to hold your ground and allow absence to work in your favor. Do not flood the battlefield with endless strikes. Do not fill every space with words. Withdraw deliberately, and let others feel the weight of your restraint. In a world addicted to noise, scarcity of movement and silence is power. Remember this law: stillness strikes hardest. Every strike of a blade carries weight, but a sword swung without restraint soon dulls. Power works the same way. Each agreement, each yes you give, is a strike. The more freely you spend it, the weaker it becomes. Scarcity is not only about presence, it is about permission. To guard your strength, you must learn the ruthless discipline of refusal. Psychology calls this the paradox of choice. The more options people face, the less satisfaction and clarity they feel. Decision fatigue is real. Every extra choice erodes energy and sharpness. If you give away your time, your attention, or your approval without limit, you empty yourself before the real battles even arrive. Like an army that marches to every call, you are exhausted before the decisive war. Restraint keeps the reserves intact. A ruler who understands this guards the throne by refusing to be everywhere. Machiavelli observed that a prince must choose carefully where to appear, for constant presence weakens majesty. The same law governs your life. Consider the blade again. Each careless strike chips the edge. A warrior who cuts at shadows enters the true fight with a blunt weapon. Every yes you give is a strike. Use them on every demand, and when the critical moment comes, you have nothing sharp left. Refusal is not cruelty, it is preservation. By saying no often, you protect the strength of your yes. Weak: I will try to help everyone. Strong: I will help only where my effort changes the field. In modern life, this law is even more urgent. Opportunities, requests, invitations, distractions, they flood the field like endless skirmishes. If you chase all of them, you are conquered by the noise. The leader, the professional, the sovereign mind must eliminate ruthlessly. Refuse what drains, refuse what distracts. Refuse what does not serve the larger campaign. Each no is a wall that keeps your throne intact. Imagine a colleague pressing you to take on another project. Instead of rushing to defend yourself or bending under pressure, you pause, You meet the request with calm authority. No, my focus is committed to what already matters. No anger, no apology, just a clear defense of your sovereignty. The silence after that statement carries more force than any long explanation. Every throne falls when it is accessible to all. A fortress with every gate open cannot last. Your value is preserved, not by constant availability, but by deliberate scarcity. Protect your energy as a general protects his cavalry. Deploy sparingly, and when you do move, the impact is undeniable. Let your rare yes become a strike that ends the battle. The law is simple. If you want your presence, your voice, and your agreement to hold value, then you must embrace the scarcity of yes. Command your boundaries with precision. Guard your strength with refusal. Let every yes you give cut like steel because it is rare. Remember the mantra. Each no sharpens the yes. Authority is not built on constant display. It is built on measured revelation. Like a predator in the wild, the leader who shows emotion too freely dulls the edge of command. The lion does not roar at every bird that crosses its path. It roars rarely, and when it does, the entire field trembles. Power lies not in flooding others with your feelings, but in rationing them, guarding them, and releasing them only when the strike demands it. History proves this law. Roman generals were masters of distance. They did not march into every quarrel or weep before every crowd. Their restraint created awe. Even in modern times, Winston Churchill understood the scarcity of emotion. His words during the war carried such weight precisely because he did not waste them on trivial moments. He held silence until it mattered, then spoke with fire. Scarcity gave his passion value. When leaders reveal emotion rarely, people feel its force deeply. When they spill it constantly, it becomes background noise. The same applies in private life. Relationships collapse under floods of uncontrolled emotion. Neediness cheapens authority. If you beg for attention, drown others with demands, or overexpose your feelings, you lose gravity. Your presence becomes predictable and easy to dismiss. Emotional scarcity is not coldness. It is calibration. Weak, I can't live without you. Strong, I choose to share my life with you. Weak, I'm always available. Strong, I value my time and I offer it deliberately. Scarcity sharpens meaning. Machiavelli warned that rulers cannot rely on love alone. The same principle applies to emotion. If your leadership rests only on warmth, it collapses the moment affection fades. But when warmth is rare and controlled, it becomes a gift. When people see that you can remain steady under pressure, your occasional burst of passion carries the force of a weapon drawn at the perfect time. Picture a heated meeting. A colleague presses you with sarcasm, hoping to provoke, instead of rising in anger or flooding the room with defense. You hold steady. You listen, pause, and respond in a level tone. I hear your view. Here is the decision. No raised voice, no storm. The discipline of calm reveals more strength than an eruption ever could. And when you finally do raise your voice one day, the room will know it matters. The predator metaphor rules here. A lion that roared every hour would soon be ignored by its own prey. But when it waits, silent, moving with precision, then unleashes its roar, it paralyzes the field. Your emotions must follow the same discipline. Restrain them, ration them, and reveal them rarely. Each display then strikes like a roar in the silence of the savannah. This is the mask of command. Guard your fire. Do not let it leak at every frustration or every passing urge. Save it for the moments when presence and passion can alter the battlefield. Authority is not noise. Authority is concentrated force, and the law of scarcity commands this truth. Emotion gains power only when it is rare. The hunger to be constantly seen is a silent weakness. It corrodes authority from within. Presence, when cheapened by overuse, makes you ordinary. The battlefield does not reward the soldier who swings wildly just to be noticed. It rewards the assassin who waits in shadows, reveals himself only once, and strikes with precision. Authority follows the same law. If you crave validation, if you must always be visible, you destroy the very scarcity that makes you valuable. Psychology shows how easily the human mind becomes addicted to presence. Attention acts like a drug. Each glance, each notification, each acknowledgement reinforces the craving. Soon, the absence of recognition feels like withdrawal. Leaders, lovers, even ordinary people fall into this trap. They mistake constant presence for strength, when in truth it signals dependence. The more you demand to be seen, the more you expose the fragility of your own confidence. Scarcity is lost, and with it, respect. The assassin metaphor reveals the path. Imagine a duel where one fighter never stops moving, thrashing, showing his blade. His opponent tracks every motion and waits for the mistake. The assassin, by contrast, remains unseen. He does not reveal his hand until the decisive strike, and when it lands, the duel ends. This is how presence must be managed. Do not flood the field with noise. Do not hand others the rhythm of your movements. Appear only when the timing is decisive. In modern life, the battlefield is often digital. Social media lures you into the weakness of oversharing. Every thought posted, every photo uploaded, every emotion displayed, these scatter your power into the wind. Visibility without value breeds indifference. When you are always present online, you become a predictable background, consumed and forgotten in the endless scroll. Scarcity, even here, is the weapon. Share less. Reveal only what carries weight. Let silence sharpen the impact of your appearance. Weak, I need to be heard right now. Strong, I choose when to speak because my words carry weight. Weak, I'll post everything I do. Strong, I reveal what matters and the rest remains mine. These shifts discipline your presence. They turn you from performer into commander, from desperate voice into deliberate force. Consider disagreement handled with this discipline. In a heated discussion, someone demands you respond immediately, pressing for reaction. Instead of giving them constant presence, you hold the pause. You listen, breathe, and then say, with calm precision, "I've heard your point. I'll respond when the decision is clear." The absence of immediate reaction strengthens you. You are not dragged into their tempo. You define your own. The assassin does not chase the crowd. The assassin waits, studies, then eliminates the need for repetition with one exact strike. Your presence must mirror this discipline. Cut the addiction to validation. Resist the compulsion to always appear. Choose your moments with the calculation of a strategist. When you are absent, you gather force. When you are present, you must strike. Kill the need to be seen. Kill the weakness of constant presence. The law of scarcity commands it. Your absence is a weapon. Use it. Scarcity is the forge of desire. When something is always available, it becomes invisible. When it vanishes, it burns in the mind. This is not just philosophy, it is psychology. Intermittent reinforcement, the system by which rewards are unpredictable, creates the strongest attachments. A gambler returns to the table, not because he always wins, but because he wins just enough to crave the next hand. The same principle applies to human bonds. If you are constantly present, you have a dull impact. If you appear selectively, you sharpen longing. Your absence becomes the bait that sustains hunger. Picture the wolf. It does not grow sharp teeth. and a relentless drive by feasting every day. It is scarcity that forges its power. The wolf hunts with precision because prey is not always there. Its hunger teaches patience, focus, and timing. You too must train others to hunger for your presence by not feeding them endlessly. When you are everywhere, you become no one. When you withdraw strategically, you take the position of the wolf. People lean forward. They search for your return. And when you do appear, the weight of your presence lands harder than before. Modern life tempts you to do the opposite. Social media urges oversharing, constant updates, the illusion of relevance through noise. In dating, in business, in friendships, many destroy their own value by always being available. The psychology is simple. If you flood the market, the price falls. If you ration access, people recognize worth. This is why brands drop limited editions, why successful people are hard to book, why mystery outshines exposure. But scarcity must be disciplined, not childish. If someone disagrees with your boundaries, respond with calm certainty. Imagine someone demanding more of your time than you are willing to give. Do not argue or justify. Say with a steady tone, "I value focus, and I will give attention when it matters." Then hold your ground. The wolf does not explain its hunger. It acts, and the world adjusts. Your task is to craft rhythm. Appear, then vanish. Offer, then withhold. Weak, I am always free. Strong, I am available when it counts. Weak, I'll answer instantly. Strong, I'll answer when it matters. Weak, I'll keep showing up. Strong, I'll show up when it changes the game. Scarcity is not neglect. It is power measured. Do not starve others until resentment builds. Feed the hunger just enough, then pull back. Train desire as one trains a predator, with discipline, consistency, and timing. Let them wait. Let them wonder. Let them miss you. The moment you return, every word, every gesture, every movement carries double the force. Presence is a weapon, sharpened by absence. The wolf knows, endless meat makes it lazy, but scarcity makes it fierce. You must live the same way. Do not waste your energy feeding the crowd daily. Let them hunger, let them imagine, let them ache for the moment you return. And when you do, strike with precision and authority. Scarcity is strength. Feed the hunger, never the excess. In chess, the strongest player is not the one who moves fastest, but the one who knows when to wait. A premature strike wastes momentum. A deliberate pause creates pressure. Each second of silence on the board is a weight pressing on the opponent's mind, forcing them to reveal impatience. In war, generals who rush often bleed armies. Those who master time as a scarce weapon force enemies into costly mistakes. Delay is not weakness, it is a sword hidden in the sheath, promising a sharper cut when finally drawn. Imagine a duel where two combatants circle each other. One swings wildly, trying to end it quickly. The other waits. Every withheld strike tightens the tension. The desperate fighter grows reckless, lunging forward, exposing flaws. The one who waits calmly studies rhythm, watches for overreach, and strikes at the moment of collapse. In this way, restraint is not passive, it is predatory. To hold back when others expect movement is to make your presence heavier than any attack. In modern life, the same law rules business, negotiations, and leadership. A contract demanded immediately loses leverage. A leader who agrees too quickly seems desperate. But when you delay a decision, scarcity forms around your approval. Others begin to value what they cannot easily obtain. In negotiations, silence after an offer often compels the other side to speak more, sometimes giving concessions they would never have revealed if you had rushed to fill the gap. Time becomes currency. By spending it sparingly, you raise its price. This principle requires discipline, not arrogance. To use delay as strength, you must know why you wait. If someone challenges you by saying, "You're being too slow," do not defend with excuses. Respond with calm clarity. I move when the timing is right, not when impatience demands it. Then hold your ground. Waiting with purpose is command. Waiting from fear is surrender. The difference lies in posture. Scarcity of action creates weight. When you do speak, your words strike harder because they are rare. Weak: I'll answer right away. Strong: I'll answer when I'm ready. Weak: I'll decide now to ease pressure. Strong: I'll decide when the moment is sharpest. Weak: I'll react instantly. Strong: I'll respond deliberately. This rhythm transforms hesitation into mastery. Strategic delay should not become endless avoidance. In chess, waiting too long forfeits initiative. In war, hesitation at the wrong time invites disaster. Scarcity only works when it sharpens impact, not when it becomes paralysis. Your aim is to control the tempo, not abandon it. Step back just enough to let desire, pressure and expectation swell, then step forward with force when the moment peaks. Time is the one resource no rival can reclaim. When you wield it with intent, you become like the chess master who seems immovable, who watches opponents crumble under the weight of their own urgency. In business, in love, in leadership, you gain strength, not from being everywhere at once, but from being rare, measured, and exacting with your moves. Do not rush to prove worth. Do not move because the crowd is restless. Delay with reason. Strike with precision. Let impatience destroy others, while patience builds your throne. Power belongs to the one who controls the clock. Pleasure rationed becomes pleasure sharpened. The greatest kings and generals understood this. Power is not built by endless indulgence, but by deliberate restraint. What is scarce gains weight. What is withheld becomes desired. To master yourself, you must treat pleasure the way a commander rations food on a long campaign. Enough to sustain, never enough to soften. Discipline turns absence into strength. Indulgence turns abundance into weakness. The Stoics practiced this art. They would eat plain bread when they could have dined on delicacies, reminding themselves that comfort is fleeting and that control is eternal. Spartan warriors lived with rationed meals, simple clothing, and no tolerance for softness. Their discipline was not deprivation for its own sake. It was a calculated sharpening of the will. By denying themselves what others consumed without thought, they created an inner fortress that enemies could not breach. The scarcity of comfort made them dangerous men. You must ask yourself, will you be ruled by your cravings, or will you ration them as a king? Rations grain in a siege. Imagine a ruler who feasts daily, drowning his court in endless banquets. Soon the meals mean nothing. The music grows dull. The wine is ordinary. The meat is expected. His throne becomes surrounded, not by awe, but by boredom. Now picture another king who feasts rarely. Once or twice in a season, he opens the hall. He spreads the tables with roasted game and rare spices. The people speak of those nights for years. His absence makes the event legendary. His scarcity makes his presence burn brighter. The same law applies to you. Constant indulgence dilutes value. Controlled indulgence creates power. In today's world, the battlefield of scarcity lies in your relationship to pleasure and stimulation. The modern environment floods you with instant rewards, scrolling feeds, constant entertainment, sugar, noise. The result is dulled focus and weakened resolve. This is why many now turn to practices like dopamine, temporary abstention from digital stimulation, or indulgence in order to reset sensitivity and reclaim focus. The value is not in the absence alone, but in what absence does to your mind. It sharpens desire, It builds anticipation. It restores strength. Discipline becomes your currency of prestige. When others are slaves to every buzz and craving, your restraint sets you apart. You must become deliberate in the way you ration pleasure. Delay the feast, and it will feel like a throne won back after war. Limit your indulgence, and you make it rare, valuable, and unforgettable. Do not consume endlessly, for endless consumption destroys awe. Instead, consume with intention. Rule your cravings as you would rule restless subjects, firmly but with purpose. Command yourself, ration your pleasures, harden your will, make scarcity your crown. Those who squander discipline are forgotten. Those who master it are remembered. Pleasure loses value without scarcity. Power is felt most when it is absent. A throne that is always visible gathers dust, but a throne rarely revealed gathers reverence. Throughout history, rulers who appeared sparingly created a presence larger than life. Roman emperors often withheld their image from public life, letting their statues, coins, and decrees carry their aura. Medieval monarchs limited their audiences, allowing their subjects to speak of them more than see them. Their scarcity created myths. They understood that when the sovereign walks rarely among the people, each step becomes sacred ground. The battlefield metaphor is this: the most feared predator is not the one you constantly see circling. It is the one you know exists in the forest, yet cannot predict. Its shadow flickers and vanishes. Its absence keeps tension alive, for the unknown is more frightening than the familiar. Presence reveals, absence magnifies. In your own life, you must learn to create that same aura. Do not always be available. Do not always respond instantly. Do not always reveal your full hand. By rationing your visibility, you become like the unseen predator whose silence breeds caution in all who cross the woods. Modern life proves this principle in plain view. Celebrities gain value by scarcity. When they appear constantly, their image grows common. When they withdraw, demand for them multiplies. A CEO who rarely speaks publicly often commands greater attention than one constantly explaining himself. The same is true of thought leaders whose words carry weight not because they speak often, but because they speak rarely and decisively. The market, like the battlefield, rewards scarcity. Overexposure breeds familiarity. Scarcity breeds anticipation. You must decide what to make scarce. Time is the most powerful. Guard it as a general guards supply lines. Do not attend every meeting, every event, every trivial engagement. Your refusal is not arrogance. It is strategy. Attention is another. If you give it freely to everything, it loses force. If you reserve it, those who receive it feel its weight. Even your silence can be scarce. Withhold it until the moment when words are necessary, then strike like a sword unsheathed at the decisive hour. Consider a disagreement handled with this principle. Someone demands constant response, immediate answers, and endless presence. Instead of snapping back, you calmly state, "I do not operate on that rhythm. I will speak when it matters, not when impatience demands it." In that moment, you turn absence into strength. You create boundaries not as walls, but as fortifications that protect the throne. Weak, I am just busy. Strong, I choose where I invest my presence. Weak, sorry for not replying sooner. Strong, I respond when the timing is right. Frame your scarcity as deliberate choice, not accident. A king is not rare because he is careless. He is rare because he values the weight of his appearance. You must learn the same. Command yourself, ration your time, ration your attention, ration your presence. Become known by the force of your absence as much as by the clarity of your action. Let scarcity become your armor and your crown. Scarcity creates power. On every battlefield, the victor is not the one who is loudest or most constant, but the one who appears at decisive moments and vanishes before being consumed. Power lives in scarcity. When you are everywhere, you are ordinary. When you are rare, you are unforgettable. Think of the throne. A king does not mingle daily with the crowd. His power grows because his presence is rationed. A single decree shakes the realm more than endless chatter ever could. Your strength must follow this law. Hold back. Reveal yourself rarely. When you do, strike like thunder. The same rhythm applies in war. Stillness before movement multiplies force. The army that marches every hour exhausts itself and becomes predictable. The army that waits, that withholds its weight, descends like a hammer when the enemy is unguarded. In chess, a piece constantly shifted across the board loses its bite. A piece kept still, guarding silence, becomes the phantom threat that dictates the opponent's every move. Absence can weigh heavier than presence. Learn to master this invisible dominance. Review the symbols you have carried. The throne, rare presence. The battlefield, calculated stillness. The assassin, one strike, not 1,000. The wolf, seen only in flashes before the kill. The chessboard, restraint as strategy. The ritual, scarcity of gestures that make each action sacred. The mask, revealed only in fragments, never all at once. The aura, formed by distance, maintained by restraint. Each image speaks the same truth. You cannot be constant and remain valuable. Constancy kills mystery. Constancy kills tension. You are remembered for rarity, not repetition. Scarcity is not a weakness. It is a form of divinity. Gods are not seen daily in the marketplace. Their absence makes them eternal. The sovereign of absence does not explain every choice, does not answer every call, does not show up at every gathering. The sovereign is untouchable precisely because he cannot be consumed. To live this law, you must accept distance. You must learn to deny the crowd constant access to you. Deny them not out of cruelty, but out of self-respect. Your boundaries are the temple walls. Your absence is the altar. Consider the cost of failure. If you make yourself too abundant, you drown in the crowd. You are another voice in the noise, another body in the swarm. Overexposure makes you invisible. The crowd forgets what it sees too often. In the modern age, where everyone competes for constant attention, abundance is cheap. Every platform is flooded with endless content, endless opinions, endless noise. To join this flood is to disappear. But the one who withdraws, who appears rarely, creates anticipation. Scarcity becomes magnetism. People lean forward, waiting. They measure your silence and prepare themselves for the weight of your next move. Look at modern leaders who mastered this law. The CEO who speaks only at rare moments is listened to with intensity. The artist who does not overproduce becomes iconic. The thought leader who withholds his words until they are refined commands more influence than the one who floods the world with constant commentary. Scarcity transforms presence into ritual. Each appearance is not just seen but remembered. You must train yourself to resist the urge to be constant. When challenged, do not rush into petty battles. Imagine someone attacks your idea in a meeting. Weak, you defend immediately, filling the air with justification. Strong, you pause, let silence stretch, then deliver one precise statement that ends the dispute. Your absence of reaction carries more authority than an endless defense. Authority grows in the pause, not the noise. This is your final transformation. You are no longer common, no longer available, no longer drowned by abundance. You rule by scarcity. You move like a shadow on the battlefield, like a piece on the chessboard held in reserve, like a sovereign whose rare command thunders louder than 1,000 voices. Your absence becomes a presence. Your rarity becomes immortality. Remember the law. Live it until it becomes your nature. Scarcity makes you sovereign. Abundance dulls impact. Scarcity sharpens it. You are not meant to be everywhere at once, exhausting your presence until it becomes invisible. You are meant to rule like a sovereign whose power is not in constant proclamation but in the rarity of command. When every word is weighed, when every appearance is deliberate, your value grows beyond measure. You are not the noise of the crowd, you are the silence that makes the crowd turn its head. Your oath begins with this truth. My value is forged in absence. You do not have to prove yourself by endless activity or constant availability. In fact, the more you give without restraint, the less each offering is worth. Just as rare metals are chosen for crowns while common stone is trampled underfoot, your strength lies in being precious, not plentiful. Gold is valuable, not because it is loud or abundant, but because it is scarce, unbending, and enduring. Let this be your reminder. Only what is rare becomes sovereign. Scarcity does not mean retreating in fear. It means withdrawing with intention, conserving force, and returning at chosen moments with clarity. When you remove yourself from the noise, you do not disappear. You rise above it. The sovereign who steps back from constant chatter is not forgotten. He is awaited. When you ration your words, your silence becomes a throne. When you ration your presence, your arrival becomes an event. In daily life, this is how power is protected. Do not be the one who answers every call instantly, who floods every room with needless commentary, who gives more than is asked until the gift is worthless. Instead, be the one who measures every move. Weak, I will always be available. Strong, I will appear when it matters. Weak, I speak to fill silence. Strong, I speak to define silence. The difference is sovereignty. Conflict will test this vow. Someone will demand a reaction, expecting you to rush into defense. In that moment, do not fold, hold still. Let silence carry the weight. When you finally answer, let it be a few words, sharp and decisive. By refusing to drown in the flood of voices, you make every syllable a strike of authority. The oath of scarcity is a discipline of restraint. Withdraw from the excess of noise, from the constant proving of worth, from the desperate need to be everywhere. Return with weight, not with abundance. Let absence build your aura. Let distance forge your respect. Let silence magnify your command. From this moment forward, your vow is set. My value is forged in absence.